Ulrich Leinhase with Maximum Success Incorporated. On this video, I'd like to talk about sales leadership and what sales leadership is about. The best way I found to do that is to describe a personal buying experience I had a number of years ago. I use this analogy during my workshops because it applies to salespeople regardless of the product or services they may be selling. I'm sure you remember your first computer. Mine was a Commodore 64. Back then, I knew almost nothing about computers. I'll confess, even today I'm only partially computer literate. But right from the beginning, I recognized the value of these machines. I needed more computing power than my Commodore 64 could provide, so I planned to buy a new, more powerful computer. My son was thrilled when he found out I was buying a new computer. He told me that he couldn't play any of his computer games because the old Commodore didn't have the power or the right kind of drive. I had no idea what he was talking about, but he was excited that we were getting a new computer. The next day, I went to the store to look at computers. A salesperson came up to me while I was looking at various models. The first words out of his mouth were, "Can I help you?" To this day, when a salesperson says, "Can I help you?" I find it extremely annoying. I'm always tempted to say, "No." However, not knowing much about computers, I needed help. I said that I was looking for a new computer. He didn't ask any questions, but immediately started talking about the computer I was looking at. His entire conversation was about computers and technical jargon. I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't want to appear totally uninformed, so I just nodded my head in agreement every now and then. There were 4 models that I thought would meet my computing needs. One of the models had a built-in CD-ROM drive. I had no idea what it was or what it was used for. The other 3 models were within a few $100s of each other. However, the one with the CD-ROM drive, the newest model, cost hundreds of dollars more than the other 3. I was totally overwhelmed with the computer terminology that the salesperson was using. I pointed to the CD-ROM drive and asked him if I needed it. He knew I didn't know what it was or what it was used for. His demeanor indicated he was interested in only one thing: making the sale. If that were to happen today, I'd leave the store without making any purchase. He wasn't interested in my needs, my wants, or my concerns. He didn't ask me how I was going to use the computer. He knew if he agreed with me, I would purchase one of the lower priced models, and he would receive his commission. To make that happen, he said, "Yeah, you're right. You don't need it." Then he said, "If I were you, this is the model I would buy," pointing at the cheapest one. So I bought the cheapest model, believing it would meet my needs. I brought the new computer home. My son could hardly wait to open all the boxes. He talked about the games he would be able to play on this new computer that he couldn't play on the old computer. He was excited because he wouldn't have to go to his friend's house to play his computer games. It was like Christmas, opening all the boxes. We had wires going every which way. If it wasn't for my son, I would probably still be trying to put that computer together today. My son is one of those kids born with technology in his genes. Finally, he had it all put together. Before I had a chance to turn on the power, my son looked at me and asked, "Where's the CD-ROM drive?" "The what?" I asked. "The CD-ROM drive you have to play all the cool games." I told him the salesperson said I didn't need it. This computer has all the computing power I would need. This model is fast and has more than enough memory. My son was really disappointed. That evening, I was reading an article about a new business program that would help make my business efforts much more productive. The article went on about the newest computer technology. The author stated that the most effective business programs are only available on CDs, which require a CD-ROM drive. He then went on to explain what a CD-ROM drive was all about. I still didn't completely understand how important the CD-ROM drive was. However, within a month, my son planted the seed that we needed a computer with a CD-ROM drive. He campaigned for another computer by telling me that the most productive businessmen use the latest computer models with CD-ROM drives. That's what makes them so productive, he said. I'll be the first to admit, my son is a fantastic salesperson. During a family shopping trip, my wife and daughter went in one direction and my son led me to the store he wanted to go to, a computer store. It wasn't the store where I had purchased the last computer because I didn't want to see that salesperson ever again. When I think about that experience, I think of him as a dipstick interested in only one thing, his commission. As we walked into the store, my son saw a bunch of computers on display and was immediately drawn to them like a magnet and started playing a game. A salesperson came up to me and said, I was expecting to hear, "May I help you?" Instead, he looked at me and said, "Wow, your son really has good hand-eye coordination." "He's good at computer games," I replied, feeling proud of my son's abilities. Then the salesperson began asking me questions. He started with, "Is the computer going to be used by just your son, or are you both going to use it?" He made me feel comfortable. I liked him. He was interested in my needs, my wants, and my concerns, and didn't have commission breath. Within a few minutes, he knew my name, my son's name, and what the computer was going to be used for. He also asked me how much computer knowledge I had. I confessed I didn't know much about computers. When he started talking about computers and CD-ROM drives, I really began to understand what he was talking about. He didn't try to dazzle me with a bunch of technobabble or computer jargon. When it came time to close the sale, he didn't have to use any hard closing techniques. He knew what I wanted and why I wanted it. That's what he used to close the sale. He not only made me feel good about my purchase, he also provided me with knowledge that helped me become more computer literate. He did that by carefully observing me while he was talking and making sure I understood what he was talking about. My son and I walked out of the store with a new computer. I even purchased a software program that I would be able to use for business that required a CD-ROM drive, which this new computer had. My son got what he wanted, a computer he would be able to use to play his games, and I got what I really needed. Anyone who talked to me about purchasing a computer or computer games or programs, I recommended they had to see my computer salesperson. I was getting ready to make another major computer purchase and wanted to talk about it with my computer salesperson. When I got to the store, he wasn't there. I talked with the department manager to find out where he was. He said he was promoted to district sales manager in charge of all the computer salespeople in the state. I wonder if the letter I had sent to the store CEO had anything to do with it. Because this young salesperson attended one of my sales training seminars and told me after the seminar he was very pleased that he came, because this formal training gave him insight into the communication and people skills he needed to make more sales. And that's what sales leadership is about: excellent communication and people skills. Ulrich Leinhase, wishing you maximum selling success.